Hello everyone, my name is Umar from group 13544/3, and today I'm gonna talk about Heroku. So just a simple question I'm gonna try to answer. What is Heroku? Simply, Heroku is a cloud platform that lets you build, deliver, monitor and scale your application. It's some kind of service that enables companies to focus on their apps and the code they write and deliver more value to the customers. So doing this, they don't need to focus on all the problem and troubleshoot coming with the deployment side, and what to do, how we're gonna deploy, with thing we're gonna struggle with. No problem, just focus on your application, the code you write, and then you let Heroku do all the process for you. In just a few steps you get your application completely live to make it run on Heroku. So today Heroku the Heroku claims more than 23 billion requests every day and had more than 7 million apps created so far and 150 add-on services. So the next step, what is really the language restriction with Heroku? So actually there is no language restriction with Heroku. Whether you feel familiar with Java, PHP, Ruby, Go, Python or Node or whatever, you can make your application live. You can use Heroku. There is no language restriction at all. You can use each of this language to write your code, and then in few additional steps you can build your application and do whatever you want. So Heroku takes care of all of this for you. So if we don't have to care about the deployment side, so after we wrote our code on our local machine, so how can we push it to Heroku? This is also pretty much simple. Whether you're familiar with the GitHub or command line or continuous integration, you can use those things to push your code. You can use command lines, pretty much the most used. You can use GitHub, you can use some continuous integration. It's pretty much the same thing. You just need to write your application to have the code on your local machine, and then using one of these things to push into Heroku. So it's pretty much simple and it doesn't require that much time to do it. And the next thing I'm gonna talk about is Heroku runtime. The Heroku runtime provides like a set of service to orchestrate and manage the execution and scale your application. So there are pretty much three key components on the Heroku runtime. The first one and the most important is Dino, and the second one is also pretty much important, is the data service, and the last one is pretty much the add-ons associated with the runtime. So in the next slide I'm gonna talk about the dynos. So dynos are really the heart of the Heroku platforms. Dynos are this kind of building blocks that power any Heroku application, from really simple application to really sophisticated application. Dynos do whatever is needed to make your application execute. So when you deploy the Heroku application, you just build a virtual machine image called a slug, and the slug can use one or more build packs. And when a virtual machine instance is launched from this slug, it's called a dyno. So each dyno then runs a single process inside your application virtual machine, and dynos are used to handle the traffic requests on your application and to serve a little bit of traffic. That means you don't need a really big traffic on your application. You can use one dyno if it's what is needed. You can use why not 2 dynos, 3, 4, 5. The more dynos you need, you can use it to run your application. But just keep in mind that dynos are kind of paying. Like dynos depends the amount of money you paid is proportional to number of dynos you're using. The more dynos you're using, the more you're gonna pay, and that's all. And yeah, and the next thing I'm gonna talk about is the Heroku data services. So this is also important because As far as we all know, data are like lies on the heart of any application. So any application, wherever it's using data coming from customers or data coming from services, an application and its data goes hands in hand. So that means, and thinking about all of this, Heroku provides us with really two powerful data services: Postgres and Postgres and Heroku Redis. You can use whatever of those things to really power the data service in your application, and both of them are fully managed, run and maintained internally by Heroku itself, and this is really a great thing. And the next thing I'm gonna talk about is the add-ons. And as I thought, Heroku claims more than 150 add-ons, and let's say those add-ons are component services or piece of infrastructure that are really fully maintained for you, either by Heroku itself or by a third party provider. And there is a bunch of add-ons depending on your need. Whatever you need, you just need to find the add-on providing this service, and that's all. You can install it using the command line or using the Heroku dashboard. It's up to you, and it's pretty much easy to do it. And there is one last thing I didn't talk about, but I put it in the last, is the proc file. So what is a proc file? The proc file is just a simple file with the name proc file, and that specifies the commands that are executed by your app's dynos. And this proc file is always a simple text file that is named proc file without a text extension. Proc file can be used to declare a variety of process type, including your app's web server, multiple types of workers, processes, and a singleton process such as clock or task to run before a new release of your application is released. And after this one, all of pretty much those steps, you have a really fully functional application running on Heroku, and user can access your application from any device over HTTP, including WebSocket and whatever, or using simply some application programming interface API to access your application, and you have a really fully functional application with and you didn't struggle with all the things normally associated with an application deployment, and you spare a lot of time that you can use to do other things, and that's really great. And from this, we're just gonna move to some practice part, and I will just download some Symfony framework application just online and make it live and send it to Heroku and to demonstrate whatever I talk about. It's gonna go really fast. So let's move to this practice. Here I have already a folder called Polytech. I'm gonna go inside. I'm here. I'm just gonna use Composer to download some application and create project. I'm gonna create a Symfony project as I thought, and it's gonna be from framework standard edition, and I'm gonna call it Polytech. And I'm just gonna wait it. Just it's gonna take a few seconds to complete this part, and the rest is gonna go pretty much faster. And here I'm gonna take everything by default. I'm not gonna change anything. And from here, if I make ls, I can see my new project Polytech. And from here I'm gonna go inside Polytech and do ls, and I have all my files up and everything. And I'm gonna initialize git here. I'm gonna initialize git here, and I have initialized git. I'm gonna make a git add first git status to see the status, and I have all my files, and then git add. I'm gonna add all of them. If I do this and check with git status, I see that everything is good. And finally git commit initial import, and that's all. And from here I'm just gonna create a Heroku application. Heroku create. I'm gonna give a name, and the name is gonna be the same thing, Polytech. I'm gonna take, and it's saying is already taken, and I'm just gonna say Polytech. I'm gonna add some kind of name. Sorry, I'm gonna just add some names here. Sorry. And that's all. And I have my application here, the name, and from here I can, because I have everything, I have to fix one variable. And what is this variable? This variable is Heroku config set. It's Symfony variables, and it's I should set it to prod. And from here I can make git push Heroku master, and just wait for my thing to come online. Gonna be kind of quick. And yeah, and from here I'm gonna try to launch my application, but the application is not gonna work actually, because as I talked, the proc file is really one of the most important, really important file in the process. So doing this, I know that I didn't create, and I have the notice here. That means it's not gonna work. But anyway, I'm gonna try to launch Heroku without this file, and it's not gonna work, of course. I take it, and of course I don't have the permission to access on this server. It's pretty much simple. I know what to do. And here I come back here, I have to create the proc file, and I'm gonna just say here go web, here use some variables, composer config we there, and from here Heroku .php Apache 2, export.web, and that's all. Here, and profile. And as I thought, the profile doesn't take any extension, so I have to, and that's all. File. And if I make a git status here, I saw that there is one change, git add and git commit, let them profile created, and then so, and git push Heroku master, and just wait. And from here I shouldn't have any mistake, since I created the profile, and everything should be okay from this part. Of course I don't have any notice here, so I will try to launch my application. Heroku open, and I have my application live. So that's all with the deployment process. So I'm gonna go to my application personal dashboard, and if I renew here, I should see another application here, and this is the one I just created, Polytech. It is my just application I just created now. And if I go inside, I can see whatever I did here, this build, the versions, the build log, and whatever on the right side. And on the left side I had like the add-ons I installed here, the dyno formation, the dyno I just create, the profile I just created is here, and using this is the dyno is using this profile. I have the collaborator, I'm alone on this project, and all the things I created, the environment and all of the things here. So I can, from here I can go to resource, and here I can change the dyno type. If I want dynos, I can do it. It's gonna be paying, of course, and I'm not gonna change it, of course. From here I can check my deployment, and as I thought before, and I just come here, and if I need to add any add-ons, I can do it through here. I just need to look for add-ons and those things. And here, this is my deployment. As I thought, you can use GitHub to deploy also your application, and here it's I can do it from here. If I type here, I can do I can create any repository on GitHub and join this current project with this repository using GitHub. And because I didn't create any GitHub repository, I'm not gonna do anything, but I can try. If I don't know, this should be one of my GitHub repo, and here I don't remember. Yeah, and I can try to connect them, and yeah, it's connected. And from here this is connect to my GitHub, and I just connect my application to my GitHub. It's all is working fine from here. And from here I have the metrics, and I don't need anything. The activities here, the activity feed, whatever happened, and the access. And the collaborators, I can add collaborators, I can open my app more, and the settings when coming to change the config variables and the regions and all these things I can change from here. And pretty much I don't want to make a really long video, but just for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna come here, try to add Postgre add-ons, just for the sake, here, just for an example, I found it. I'm gonna add it to some database services. So I really, as you can see, the Aaron Postgre has been installed. Check out the documentation, and it's already working with my application. So I can add as much as data services or external Aarons I want, and those things. And that is pretty much. I'm gonna stop this video here. It's always gonna go long. I'm gonna stay here. So in the resume of what we saw a general presentation of Heroku. We went through the process of making it live. We did some demonstration, we checked the dashboard, and this is pretty much all about, and it's kind of really interesting tools and all the things. So yeah, and I think this is all for this video. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, and bye bye.